up, my people? In this video, we're going to be solving systems by graphing. And, graphing is just one of the many ways we can solve systems. But in this particular video, we're going to be solving systems by graphing. We'll be graphing systems in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. So let's go ahead and jot that down first. Slope-intercept form. Is a y equals mx plus b. And then we have standard form we're going to be looking at. We're going to be doing that too. Standard form looks like this: ax plus by equals c. And then something else I want to go ahead and take care of right now before we jump into the video. In class, we talked about this thing called Hoy-Vux. Remember, anytime you have a y equals equation, that means you're going to have a horizontal line. See, horizontal is that way. And your slope is 0. That is a 0. And then anytime you have a x equals equation, you have a vertical line. And vertical lines go up and down. And that slope is, that u is undefined. Okay, so anytime, because we're going to run into some of those, we're going to run into x equals equation, and we're going to also run into y equals equation, and we got to know how to deal with those, okay? All right, let's jump right in. So let's go ahead and do the first one. This one is a slope-intercept form. So we have to identify, actually, that's not what I wanted to write. I'm going to write that top equation. So I got y equals x plus 3. And remember that in front of this x is a 1. And so my slope is 1. And my y-intercept is a positive 3. And to make my slope a fraction, I got to do 1 over 1. So I'm going to start. B stands for begin. Let's do a quick review. B for begin. So we're going to begin at 3. We're going to rise 1, run 1. Excuse me. And to go the other way, you got to go down 1, left 1. And you can keep that pattern going. And then we're going to take our nice fancy smancy ruler, which I'm still learning to use. Bam. And then we're going to draw a nice pretty line. Okay, there's that. And then the next equation, let's do that one in, let's do this one in red. We got y equals negative 3x minus 1. My slope is negative 3. My b is negative 1. But I need my slope in the form of a fraction. Let's make that 1. So we're going to start at negative 1. I'm going to go down 3. 1, 2, 3, and to the right 1. Or I'm going to go up 3 to the left 1. And then we're going to take our ruler. And we're going to go ahead and draw our line. And then the question here is, where do these two dots cross? They cross right here, which happens to be negative 1 and positive 2. What this means is if you plug these two numbers into the equation, for example, I'm going to plug, just so you know where this comes from, I'll only do it on this one. If I plug a negative 1 in for x and I plug 2 in for y, my answer should be right. So if I put 2 equals, actually let me do this. I'm going to write it up here. This y should be 2 equals, x is -1 plus 3. And is 2 equal to -1 plus 3? Yes. And if you do it on the bottom one, the same thing will happen. Okay? So let's keep moving. Now I'm going to go a little bit faster now that we have the hang of the slope and a y-intercept. So my slope here is -1/4. Now, don't forget, if you have -1/4, just assign the negative to the top number. It seems to make life a little bit easier. So for this, I'm going to erase this negative sign. I'm going to put it with the top number. Now, you don't necessarily have to put it at the top number. You can put it with the bottom one as well. And then your b is going to be +2. All right, so we're going to cross +2. I'm going to go, now remember, your slope is your rise over your run. So I'm going to go down 1 to the left 4. And if I want to dot on the other side, I can go up 1 to the, sorry, that was down 1 to the right 4. This is up 1 to the left 4. And I'm going to connect the dots. Oops, what am I doing? Let's connect the dots. Beautiful. And then I'm going to do the other one in, let's say, orange. So for this line, m is equal to 5/4. Sorry, not the x, 5/4. And then you got b is equal to -4. So I'm going to cross the dot at -4. And then I'm going to rise 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Run 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then recording again in 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, let's jump right into this one. So we're going to do this top one. We're going to do this one in red. We're going to call, so we're going to say m is equal to -1/4. Now, remember, if you're in class, I told you it's easier just to assign the negative to the top number. And then that makes things a lot more simple. And then if you make b +2, okay? So we're going to make our b at +2. And then we're going to go down 1 to the right 4. We're going to go up 1 to the left 4. Okay? So that's how we graph that one. And let's go ahead and draw our line. Draw the line right through those points. Okay, there's that one. And then let's do the other one in green. My slope is 5/4, and my b is -4. So let's go ahead and graph that. We're going to start at -4. We're going to rise 5, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to run 4, 1, 2, and then we're going to connect our dots like so. And then the question is, where do they cross? They cross at the point right here. That is 4, 1. So far, so good, hopefully. If not, you can always pause the video, go back, rewind it. And again, this is some basic graphing. Oh, here we go. Y equals -3. At the beginning of this video, I talked about what type of line it's going to be. We either have a Hoy or a Vux. And since Hoy ends with the Y, this is a horizontal line. The horizontal line is at -3. So we're going to go to -3 on the Y. And we're literally just going to place a dot and draw a horizontal line through it, because it's a Hoy line. Okay? There's the Hoy line. So that's this one. Check. That was the easy one. All right, now let's do the other one. Let's do it in purple. My slope is equal to -2, and my y-intercept is -1. But I need my slope in the form of a fraction, so I make that -2/1. So I'm going to start at -1. I'm going to go down 2 to the right 1. I can go up 2 to the left 1. And then we're going to connect these dots. Let's connect these dots right here. Draw our wonderful, beautiful, perfectly straight line. And then the question is, where do they cross? They cross where x is +1 and y is -3. Okay? So let's zoom back out. So we've done 3 questions, basic graphing. Now we're going to get into some standard form. Now, in standard form, you have to convert, and in this particular one, we got to convert both of these into slope-intercept form. OMG. And if you can't remember how to convert, we're going to give you a quick crash course. We're going to convert the first one. And don't mind, see, I needed this graph, and the program I'm using wouldn't give me what I was looking for, so I had to make my own. All right, so let's look at the first one. We're going to do this one first in green. We're going to convert that. I'm going to use the space down here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I have to get this to y equals mx plus b. So I have to go -3x minus 3x. And you'll get 2y equals -3x plus 4. Then I have to divide everything by 2 to get the y by itself. And this equation will be y is equal to -3/2x plus 2. Okay, so that's the green one. That's the one from up here. So let's go ahead and do some highlighting. This equation converted to this down here. All right, so we're going to do the next one. And we're going to do -9x minus 6y equals -12. So that's this one in purple. Again, we got to convert. So we're going to add 9x to both sides. -6y is going to be equal to 9x with the x in front minus 12. I'm going to divide every single thing by this -6. Okay. Now, I'm left with y equals, okay, so 9/6, -9/6 or -9/6 reduces to what? -3/2 x, and then -12 divided by -6 is a +2. So let's go ahead and highlight that so you can see where that came from. Let's do this one green. So this converted to this down here. What do you notice about those two? When you convert them and they're the same exact equation, that means that they're the same exact line. So our answer to this is all real numbers. Depending on your teacher, you might see infinite solutions. And the nice little fancy little symbol for all real numbers is that one. Okay, so all real numbers is when you convert them and then they end up landing on the same line. All right, let's keep going. We got 3 left. Okay, so now I'm going to show you something, what I call, now you can, some of these equations you have to convert and some of them you do not. I'm going to show you a little trick, okay? It's what I call cover. So let's look at number 5, the top line, and let's pretend this x is missing. That equation literally says y equals -2. I can go put a point on y equals -2. Y'all see how this equation right here literally says y equals -2? I can go put a point on -2. Okay? Now, I'm going to take this back off. Now, what happens if I cover the y up? What happens? This y disappears. This equation literally says x equals -2. I can put a dot on -2 on the x. And guess what? You only need 2 dots to make a straight line. OMG, that's great, isn't it? So let's go ahead and connect these. And I'm going to go ahead and draw my line. Beautiful. Okay? So that's called cover. Where I cover one thing and then it's going to give me an equation. I can either solve it or it's already solved. Or, yeah, that's it. So you cover one at a time and put the dot on the respective places. Now I have 5x plus y. Well, this one, I can't cover both of them to get the last number, so I have to convert. So we're going to have to convert this one. We'll just do orange. So we got 5x plus y equals 2. I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. So you're going to end up with y equals -5x plus 2, which makes my slope -5 and my y-intercept +2. But I need my slope in the form of a fraction, put that over 1. So I'm going to go ahead and graph this now. I'm going to start at +2. Now I'm going to go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and to the right one. And if my line was like, if I learned how to use this ruler, it would have crossed perfectly right here. But you get the point. See, I haven't missed that one. Oh, you know what I mean. It's this point right here. What point is that? That's +1, -3. Oh, ruler's in the way. Let's write that again. That's 1, -3. Okay. All right. On this next one, let's see what happens. Can we use cover? Actually, we can. So let's do it. Let's try it really quick. Let's do cover. So I'm going to cover the x first. And that literally says -y equals 4. So if -y equals a +4, a +y would equal -4. You need it to be positive. So I'm going to go ahead and put my dot on -4. Okay, so then I'm going to erase this. And then I can cover the y. And I see 2x equals 4. So some number times 2, this is a one-step equation. Some number times 2 is 4. And that number for x would have to be a +2. And that's the graph of that one. And to further prove it to you, watch this. I'm going to go ahead and convert this. going to subtract 2 from both sides. Subtract 2x. Negative y equals negative 2x minus 4. And remember, we don't want y negative, so we have to divide everything by negative 1. And when we divide everything by negative 1, oops, this is supposed to be a positive 4. JK. All right. And then when we divide everything by negative 1, all the signs change. So this becomes y is equal to positive 2x. Positive 4 divided by negative 1 is negative 4. So my slope is 2 over 1. My b is negative 4. So that's this dot. Rise 2, run 1, rise 2, run 1. You'll notice it's the same exact line. But if you know the cover method, it goes a lot faster. Okay, so I'm going to go back to red. That is the line. Oops, I went through that. Oh, well. Okay, the bottom one. Let's see if we can do cover on that one. Let's do that one in purple. So I'm going to cover this. And I see an equation that says 3y equals 12. Some number times 3 is 12, which means that y has to be 4. Okay, now I got to do the other side. Let's cover this y. That equation says 2x equals 12. So what number does x have to be for that to work? X would have to be 6, which would be out here somewhere. But let's just see what happens when we convert it. Let's just convert it. Let's see if we can squeeze it over here. Oh, we got a little bit of space. And you'll see that it works. Minus 2x, minus 2x. I get 3y equals negative 2x plus 12. I'm going to divide everything by 3. Y is equal to negative 2/3 x plus 4. So my y-intercept, let's change that. It happens to be 4. I can go down 2 to the right 3. Down 2 to the right 3. That would be there. See? So cover works for sure. It just helps when, especially when both of them are, you can do that. Okay? And then again, the question is, where do these two cross? They cross at 3 and positive 2. Okay, so there's that. And finally, we got one more left. This is an x equals. That's a VUX, VUX. That means that x is a vertical line and it's going to go through the 4 on x. And now I need to do a vertical line. And there's that. Beautiful. So that's this one. Check. And then we gotta do this y. X minus 4y equals 12. That one will work for cover. But the problem is here, when I cover this, I have x equals 12 and my graph ain't big enough. So we got to do it the other way. Let's go ahead and convert it. And of course, I'm trying to get to y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. Negative 4y equals negative x plus 12. I'm going to divide everything by negative 4. y equals negative divided by negative is a positive. There's a 1 there, so this is positive 1 fourth x. And then 12 divided by 4 is negative 3. So my y-intercept is at negative 3. Rise 1, run 4, or go down 1, left 4. There's our line. And there you go. Oh, I don't need that. All right. And one other thing I want to point out is when we do cover, we're essentially making x 0. So we're trying to make x and y 0. So also check this out. If I would have covered this x, negative 4 times something would have had to give me 12. That y had to be negative 3, which is this dot right there. So whenever we're covering it, we're actually saying that that particular number is 0, okay? Oh, and one more thing before I let you go. There's one more type of graph I forgot to mention. Well, at least almost forgot to mention. I would have mentioned it earlier, but it wasn't on the top of my mind. So I'm going to do something real quick. I'm going to borrow this graph one more time. I'm going to borrow this. And I'm going to delete this. And then I'm going to get all this stuff out. I'm going to delete it. So I'm going to just borrow the lines on this graph. Okay, so that's all this is for. I'm deleting this. All right, so pretend that this stuff is not here. This is a JK. For the last example. What if I had a question like y equals 3x plus 4 and y equals 3x minus 2? When we graph that, we got our y-intercept at positive 4. You can either go up 3 to the right 1 or down 3 to the left 1. And let's go ahead and make that line. Get my fancy ruler. And I'm going to draw the line. Something like that. You know what I mean? And then my other line, let's do that one in like this greenish color. My y-intercept is at negative 2, rise 3, run 1, and then I'm going to draw that line. One thing I got to make sure y'all know, when you see two lines that are parallel, this is, where do they cross is the question, nowhere. This is no solution. So, and you can tell it's a no solution when the slopes, anytime the slopes match, that is no solution. Okay, so you have no solution here, and then infinite many solutions when it's the same line. Okay? All right. If you have any other questions, come see me. Have a good day. Talk to you soon.